All right, I get what you're saying, but I really do not believe the Bills quarterback is an alien. Think about it, bro. Shows up in town, everybody loves him, has a certain glow about him. It's exactly like E.T. Listen, okay? I know you're desperate to pass the time, waiting for the ticket release of the world's largest startup competition, but you just gotta chill. Hey, give me this blanket. You had it last night.
Folks, don't camp out, don't wait in the rain. Head over to 43north.org or social media and grab your tickets today. Get them before they're gone.
I'm telling you, he is hiding in plain sight. Even think about his last name. What do you mean? Allen? That's pretty standard. Is it A-L-L-E-N or is it A-L-I-E-N?
Folks, welcome, and we are another UB Bulls game day as our UB football team gets ready to take on UMass, an out-of-conference matchup, Rob Ryan, in the middle of October. Not something you see every day.
No, and it was very weird when I first saw the schedule, even the schedule itself. Even this alone with only the 5 home games, and then with this week 6 or week 7 non-conference matchup. I don't know what. I feel like this was Leipold still doing schedule making. I don't know what we were doing there, but hey, we're going in hot, 3-0 in the MAC. Get a nice little break this week with UMass, and then back for the final stretch to try to fight their way to Detroit.
Seriously, and that's what it's all about. It is a journey. I kind of like this mid-season out-of-conference matchup, especially, I hate to say it, but against a lower opponent like UMass. UB coming in as about 17-point favorites here today. But it's almost, again, I'm not calling it a bye week because you still got to go out and win. You still got to go on the road and win, which is always a challenge in football. But it's a good opportunity to kind of see what you got, retailer some things, and kind of take a look at the team overall heading into the second half of MAC play. But with that said, let's talk about the first half so far. Biggest surprise to you these past 3 weeks, besides the obvious fact that an 0-3 UB team became a 3-3 UB team?
Yeah, I really think it's the offense. The offense, the start of the year was not good, and that's being nice about it. And all of a sudden, everything's just clicked. Cole Snyder has looked like a quarterback that can be our quarterback for the next few years for the eligibility that he has. And then with the wide receiver core, Justin Marshall stepped up big. Keon Williams, who was the surprise last year, has continued his dominance in a UB uniform. And he's had the supporting cast of the running backs, Mike Washington, Ron Cook. I think I did not see the offense gelling as much as they have.
Yeah, the funny thing is, too, is that offense is not satisfied. I mean, we were looking at them at practice this week, and we were talking to them, and they say, hey, do you think we look like a team that's, 3-0, scoring 30 points every week? And yeah, everyone agreed no. They seem like they have a chip on their shoulder, something to prove. I do want to talk about the defense. Obviously, they had a very iffy start to the year. It was kind of just allowing a lot of big plays from what it seemed to be, Rob.
Yeah, and that's another big surprise, especially the secondary. The secondary beginning of the year did not make any sense. It was all these highly rated recruits out of high school that maybe didn't work out, or it's their first time here, and all of a sudden they've started to gel. The defensive line has always been good. Obviously, our linebackers, we knew what we were getting in Sean Dolak and James Patterson, but it's really that secondary who has really stepped forward and has really gelled in making this team where they are right now.
Dolak has been unbelievable. And speaking of unbelievable, The turnaround from this UB team and defense has been unbelievable after this past 3 weeks. We caught up with Coach Mo to hear on his thoughts about it this past week.
Coach, there's always room for improvement, but your defense has allowed 34 points over the last 10 quarters. I mean, what have you seen that's been, the change or cause of that? And I guess what's the key to improving that and going forward?
Yep. Maniac, we talked about a month ago how we wanted to continue to grow and improve and really being able to point out errors and correct them. And the only way, when you have success, you want to know why you had success so you can repeat it, so it can be sustainable. And when you make mistakes, you want to know why the mistakes were made, because if you can't point them out and you don't know why, they'll repeat themselves and they'll happen again. We put a big emphasis on just, fundamentals. And it's something that it's not a new thing for us, but sometimes, in leadership, you have to reemphasize things, and sometimes you have to make an adjustment or make a change. But what I really loved is that, the maturity of our guys to be able to take those corrections throughout the week and then apply them on the practice field and let those practice reps become our game reality. They have done a phenomenal job with that. And just being able to set the edges, being able to, plug gaps the way we need to plug gaps, play over the top, and then play square and fundamentally sound on all three levels of the defense. And then also in tying in our rush and coverage and also our blitz game, we feel like there's really a sense of confidence that's growing. And then we just got to stay in the mental sweet spot of improving. And how can you get better? And I think that's the area that you want to remain in, and our guys have done a really good job with that.
Love to hear it, obviously. And yeah, it's obviously, and a lot of people will say there are haters out there. That's a lot of coach speak. And yeah, it's a lot different when it's coming out from an 0-2 and 0-3 team. But yeah, you're seeing the tangible differences, Rob. They're being aggressive at the defensive line at the point of attack. And yeah, DBs are making plays when given the opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, like Coach Mo was saying, it just takes time, and that's what it did. And I think they can, and it's not just look at this, they've done it for 3 weeks. I think what they're doing is very sustainable for the rest of this year. And if that's possible, then they may be taking a trip to Detroit in December, but we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. We still got UMass today.
Seriously, you're getting so far ahead right now. 17-point favorites, though. It's funny. UB has literally the last 3 weeks been a pick-em. So we'll see how they can do as big favorites. So hopefully they can live up to that role. You know that a lot of mouths to feed on that UB offense, so there won't be any shortage of desire to put up some stats today. But with that said, Rob, what are you seeing as areas that can be tweaked, areas for improvement against UMass as we get ready for, obviously, UMass for the second half of MAC play?
Yeah, and I mean, you can't really, how they've been playing, there's not much improvement that is visual to the eye those last few weeks. But I'm just going to go back to some of the stuff that for a UMass team that does not throw the ball, they have had less than 100 passing yards each game. They use multiple QBs a game. They rely on the running game. So it's just all about crowd in the box and make sure you can tackle. You can't be letting up. You can't be missing tackles, because that's what will allow this UMass team to score, because they will not be
not a potent offense very much at all.
No.
So yeah, you're right. And if you stop them at the point of the attack, you're going to be feeling very good about your chances.
Yeah, and then for the offense, it's just run up the score early. Sometimes they'll fade in like the second quarter or third quarter.
Sometimes it's been the last 4 weeks, basically.
Okay.
2 out of the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, they will fade in like the second or third quarter. Just put this game away, because if you put up a lot of points early, UMass is out of it. They can't throw the ball, and it'll be virtually over the first half. You could maybe some bench guys in the second half, and look forward to this final stretch of the MAC season. But obviously, don't get your head of yourselves. Win today, and then look ahead.
Seriously, let's focus on today, and let's focus on getting better one step at a time, just like that UB team has done all season. We'll take a little bit of a liberty here, though, and we'll look ahead. Rob, expectations on the other side of this MAC schedule? It's not easy coming out the gate. We have Toledo, right?
Yeah, and that's the top team in the West. It could be a possible matchup in Detroit in December.
This will absolutely be a Detroit preview in Buffalo in late October.
Yeah, and I'm very happy with how the UB team will be going into it, no matter what happens today. So, I mean,
We're mooing, baby. It's mooing Saturday. Let's go.
But no, I'm just looking forward to this second half. You got one big matchup. You got two big matchups second half. The Kent State matchup and this Toledo matchup. The other ones, UB should be favored in easily, and they should win those. So, I mean, if you could win, see, you got five more MAC games. If you can at least go 4-1, 3-2, I think you're looking at your way into Detroit.
Rob, if you beat Toledo and you win at UMass today, what is this thing? Is that someone mowing their lawn or a cow mooing? Okay. I thought the cow was mooing in the background.
No, I don't live on a farm.
You do live on a farm. But speaking of a farm, we got barn animals, bobcats, we got everything. But with that said, if they can beat Toledo, they'll be 5-3 after a projected win at UMass today. It could be a possible 8-3 entering Kent State at home Thanksgiving weekend.
It could be, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Take it one game at a time. Come on, Maniac.
We are going to take it one game at a time. I'm just taking a look at it. But with that said, are you expecting the Kent State game to be for the MAC East, ultimately?
I am hoping that it's locked up before then, but no matter what, I don't think we'll be going into that game with less than 2 MAC losses, if even that. So Kent State already has their one. So no matter what, that will either be.
And by the way, you want to talk about on the chopping block, Kent State, Toledo today. So if Toledo is what they're worth, then that would be a second quote unquote MAC loss for Kent State, and that would seal the deal. That UB would officially super control their destiny as far as Detroit was concerned.
For sure, that would make Kent State 1-2 in the MAC. We're 3-0 already. I don't see us losing. Like I was saying, like you're saying, I don't see us losing. Two games before playing Kent. So if we lose 2 games, we still control our own destiny.
The troublesome ones are pretty obvious to me. I think it's the road ones at Ohio and at Central Michigan. Those aren't going to be super easy. But you do have a extended break before the Ohio game because you're playing Toledo on October 22nd, and then you have about 10 days there before the Ohio matchup, and then you have 8 days before the Central Michigan matchup. So they do have untraditional long weeks, which is nice to take advantage of there. Then they'll have 10 days before they come home and play Akron, which is awesome. And then again, the weekend end affair with Kent State. But speaking of affairs, speaking of getting it done, Rob, what is going to happen when Amherst Mass faces off against Amherst, New York, according to Paul Beck?
I think this will be a breeze. I'm going with UMass does not score. Like I said, they cannot pass this ball. It's all about the run game. You stop that, they are officially done. I'm going a score of 45-10.
Last week, UB had 90+ yard touchdowns with Mike Washington and James Patterson.
And I
over under 1.5 75+ yard touchdowns today. Justin Marshall's gonna want it. Keon's gonna want to get his.
YOLO, it's going over. We always go over, never under, only for nerfies.
Very fair, very fair. Only for nerfies. Folks, make sure you're keeping it tuned to your bullet points. We'll have updates throughout the game. We'll have updates throughout the week on this UB team, which is making a run in MAC play. Make sure you're following him at Robbie Ryan 108. I finally got it. I'm getting back in the groove. And make sure, you might follow me at Zach Sheldon. We are rocking. We are rolling. Make sure you get your, hopes up, and make sure you get your horns up. Let's go